guys, thanks for joining me. We're gonna have a nice little yin practice today. So to prepare, to make sure you can be the most comfortable in all your postures, you can grab some stuff if you haven't already. So if you don't have a yoga mat, that's fine. You can use a towel or a blanket or whatever is comfy. You can, if you have a bolster of any sort, feel free to grab that. Another good option is to take a towel or blanket and just roll it over if you happen to have a second yoga mat, or even like one of those foam rollers. And maybe grab an extra towel or blanket as well. If you have yoga blocks or something similar-ish, use that. And if you have a towel or strap or something, you might want to have one handy just in case. So we will start today on our backs and taking a supine butterfly pose. So laying down and just bringing the soles of the feet together and the knees wide open. And you can choose to place your hands on your low belly or just let your arms be off to your side. So maybe just choose whichever one makes your shoulders feel the most relaxed. And take a nice deep breath in here. Let it out your mouth. Just kind of start to settle in your space. If you're feeling already that this is going to be a little bit too intense for your hips or for your back or anything, go ahead and take, either a couple of towels or blankets or bricks and place them right underneath the edges of your outer thighs to support, so that gravity isn't, if the gravity is feeling like it's just too much gravity. And then close your eyes if you haven't already. And start to breathe in and out of your nose. And you stay here for about 5 minutes. I'm just setting my little timer for you guys. Start to breathe even deeper now. Breathing in and out of the nose, really consciously feeling your breath pull down, expand a little bit into the stomach. Start to feel the breath even in your back body and kind of feeling your back press into the floor a little bit more when you inhale. Maybe feeling your back soften into the floor a little bit more when you exhale. Starting to put a little bit of texture into the breath if that feels good for you. Slight constriction of the base of the throat. Relaxing your jaw, your shoulders, the muscles in the face. Just acknowledging any sensations that you're feeling. Making sure that it's a good positive sensation, a good sensation of stretching, and really make sure that you honor and do that throughout this entire practice. So if at any point, especially your knee says something's not okay, or you're in an experience of a sharp pain rather than a good deep stretch, then please right away come out, carefully, mindfully, and just choose something else. We're going to talk a little bit today about self-worth and acceptance. So in this morning I received a really unexpected big gift, and right away I went to, I can't accept this. I can't accept this. And I was sharing with my friend about it, and she said, "What? This is part of the problem. Is you don't think you're worthy. You're worthy of that gift. Why wouldn't you just graciously accept it?" And in this sharing with her, I also was sharing that I've been doing, the abundance meditation, and how it was just really working for me, and I was really loving it, and I was seeing all these positive effects and da-da-da-da about it. And she goes, there you go. You're calling all this stuff into your life, and here it is, right here for you, and you want to turn it away. You want to resist it. You don't feel that you're worthy of it. And I was like, wow, I didn't really think about it that way. And for myself, I do know that that's been a lot of our life's work is to really value ourselves and to accept who we are, and to receive gifts graciously. And so I just right there got to see still, there's still some work to do. Definitely some work to do there. So I just wanted to share this quote with you. It's right here for another minute. Gracious acceptance is an art. An art which most never bother to cultivate. We think that we have to learn how to give, but we forget about accepting things, which can be much harder than giving. Accepting another person's gift is allowing him to express his feelings for you. So I just thought it was really nice to drop into that place of love. Makes me want to get a little bit weepy as I really drop into that place of acceptance and just feel the love that's being given to you. It's just incredibly amazing, and we all know that it feels so good to give, and so why would we want to take from that by not accepting it so graciously and humbly and sweetly, and also valuing ourselves, knowing that we're worthy of all the many gifts that we receive, big, small, expected, unexpected, and any and all. And there are so many gifts just right in front of us, just showing up, and so we just really got to have our eyes open so we don't miss it, so we don't take it for granted. Let's take one more breath here. When you're ready, you're going to just gently hold on to the outside edges of your thighs and just gently bring your knees back together. Take your feet a little bit wider apart and just let your knees touch together. So you're just in a gentle counter pose, or rest your hands on your belly. And so now you're just getting just a minute of internal hip rotation as your counter pose. Feet back together, or back toward one another. We're just going to throw in just a little bit of a kind of yang style, just to engage in our core a little bit, strengthen a little bit, just so we have some extra support throughout the rest of our practice. So when you're ready, you're going to bring your knees in toward your chest. Give yourself a nice little squeeze. Okay, so make sure that you take this at your own level, just going deeper, further with me as it feels right for you, and just staying right at the level that's just right, so that if you try at the next variation and it's like, whoa, too much or too hard or whatever, back off to what was working for you. Okay, so you're going to slide your hands just underneath of your bum, and your palms are facing down. You're going to hug your knees in toward your chest. And then you're going to just gently start to lower your feet to the ground. It's starting to feel your core engaged and your feet almost touch the ground. And then you're going to squeeze the knees back in. Okay, next one, if you'd like, start to straighten your legs out a little bit, bringing your heels close to the ground. Don't let your back arch off the ground. And then you're going to bring your knees back toward your chest. Okay, so just finding what works for you, starting to take the legs as straight as you can, heels hovering over the mat, and knees coming back in, okay? And just keep going, keep your ribs pulling in, keep your back on the ground, keep your shoulders pressing down. And then if you'd like a little more challenge, legs can just go straight up and down, straight up and down. Okay, so whatever's working for you, be right there at your edge of challenge, of feeling something happening in your body, maybe creating a little bit of warmth, a little bit of movement, the blood flowing, okay? And again, just kind of strengthen that core. You're just going to do 5 more. Good, and 3, and 2, and 1. Nice job. Knees into chest, give yourself a little squeeze. You're releasing the feet down and taking the legs long, and let's just walk the feet over to the left for a banana asana. You're going to walk your shoulders over. Yes, you're making yourself into a banana shape. And you're going to take your right ankle, if you want a little bit more sensation, right ankle crosses over left. You can drop your right seat back down into the ground, so make sure both butt cheeks are down. And you can have your arms overhead holding opposite elbows, or maybe left hand holds onto the right wrist. And relax your head to whatever direction feels good for you. Nice deep breaths along that right side body. Feel all the space that you're creating. And I'll hold here 3 minutes on each side. So just really allow yourself to just drop in. Check in, make sure that the mind isn't wandering, that you're not caught up on some train of thought. The mind just likes to do that over and over and over, to come up with a thought, right? Whether it's false or true, and then just roll with it and turn it into some big elaborate story of a what if, or maybe maybe it's a regret that it turns into. Some projection, something that might happen, or whether that might happen creates joy for you, or sorrow, suffering, fear, anxiety. Can you just let it go? We don't know what's going to happen. We just don't know. So what we can do is be in this place of acceptance of what is, of gratitude for what is, and of really keeping our eyes open in each moment to all the prayers that are being answered, praying to whatever is your spiritual or religious belief that you follow. It's what are you putting out there, right? And then are you paying attention to when it's just landing, when it's just right there for you, when it's happening, when it's when it's all coming true, right? And it's no longer a story or a prayer or a hope or a dream, right? It's been realized. So like I realized today that it's all happening, right? And that I needed that reminder to pay attention. I hope you can keep your eyes open to the many gifts that are just out there. And just all the good stuff flowing your way, even in the most challenging times. When you're ready, from here, you're going to let your right ankle slide off the left if you cross the legs. You're going to walk yourself back to center. Pause there for a moment before rushing to the other side and just notice how you feel. Notice the difference between the right side of the body and the left side of the body. Hopefully you feel nice and spacious through the right lower back, right side. Maybe the right leg even feels longer than the left leg. So just created all this awesome space. So now we'll do the other side. Walk your feet over to the right and your shoulders over to the right. And then cross, if you're crossing, then cross your left ankle over your right. And then take your arms overhead. Opposite elbow hold. If you're holding opposite elbows, please just switch the crossing so it's kind of like your awkward crossing, not your automatic elbow grab. Maybe the right hand's holding the left. And then just breathe and be comfortably here. Just really being in this place that is one breath followed by the next. And how it feels just to be with your breath. To be in this lovely shape in your body. Feel how deeply you can breathe in this shape. Notice the sounds of nature all around. And notice the music if it comes back on. I think I'm having a little internet issue. But there's plenty nature tunes going on, so it's all right. Plastic of, worthy and acceptance and receiving. Maybe if it brought anything up for you, something up for you, right? Just let it come up, acknowledge it, let it go. Just allow yourself to kind of be with it and fall into rhythm in a way that allows you to maybe leave your mat today and make a phone call. Maybe you have somebody that you need to thank. And that you need to graciously accept. Maybe it's even an offer of help. Someone's offered to help you. You need the help. But for whatever reason, you don't feel worthy of receiving that help or accepting that help. So maybe now is a good time to say, sure, you know what? Thanks so much. That'd be really great. Thanks for the offer. If it's still on the table, right? Take one more breath. And when you're ready, you're slowly sliding the left ankle off the right. Bring yourself back through the center. Maybe arms overhead, reach through the fingertips and toe tips. And again, just this great experience and expression of space. When you're ready, you can bend your knees. Good. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Again, let your arms just be comfortable off to the side or kind of like a cactus shape. And then you're going to let your knees fall over to the right. And then over to the left in your windshield wipers. Just internally and externally rotating hips. Nice little movement. Again, kind of getting some blood flowing before we hold our next push. It's nice and relaxed. Maybe letting your head drop the opposite direction of your knees. Your neck a little bit of tension to help release any tension. Next time that your knees fall over toward the left, I'll go ahead and just bring your knees to center, right? And then bring your knees into your chest. Squeeze, give yourself a little hug. You are worthy. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into a happy baby pose. So this is that one where you might want to have a strap, especially if your hips are pretty tight. So if you have your strap, you can loop it around your feet and then just hold on anywhere that's comfortable. You're trying to draw your knees down toward your armpits, like down toward your outer ribs, and just down to the floor. If you can, you're holding onto your feet with your hands. And then two different ways you can do this here. In your yin practice, it's okay to allow your hips to kind of round off of the mat and your back to kind of round off of your mat. It's going to help to release the side joint. And then alternatively, you would kind of press the lower back down and the backs of the hips down into the floor. So if you're here and maybe your hips are lifting, how does it feel if you lengthen the lower back down into the floor? You can just notice what feels best for you, where you're receiving the best stretch. We're going to hold this one for 4 minutes. At any point, if you'd like to take it a little bit deeper, you're welcome to start to straighten your legs out. But if you do that, please do keep your lower back and the backs of the hips on the ground. Come out of the rounded or butt lifted variation. Okay, so again, lower back and backs of the hips pressing into the ground if you decide you want to start to stretch your legs out. Still bringing the knees and the feet down toward the floor as much as you can. And then do a quick body scan and relax anywhere that tightened up involuntarily. Maybe you didn't realize, start to clench your jaw again, or there's a hardening of the eyes, or tension around the hips, shoulder. Just try to draw the breath all the way down into your hips and your thighs. Just keep breathing. We're just going to roll with the sounds of nature now because my speaker told me its battery was very low. So you got about a minute and a half left. Don't worry if your legs are shaking. Yeah, your muscles are like, what is happening? That's okay. Yeah, just really try to relax into it the best that you can, so that the body responds in that way, where it just relaxes into it, right, and starts to open up a little bit more and get a little bit more comfortable here. Maybe if you're really pulling on your feet, you just relax that a little bit. And just leave it up to gravity now for this last bit of time here. Okay. Taking your legs out more straight. Remember, lower back on the ground and legs out. You can use your hands on your inner thighs or anywhere that feels comfortable. One more breath. Bring your legs back together. Use your hands to help in any amount. Lower your feet down to the ground at hip distance. Your hands can also be down onto the ground. And then just let your hips gently lift about halfway up off of the floor. So not all the way up into a full bridge, but more like just a half bridge. Just lift about halfway up. The glutes are going to engage a little bit, but don't squeeze your butt. Yeah, just a little counter pose for 2 more breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Remembering to breathe in and out of your nose. Inhaling and exhaling. Slowly you can lower the hips back down onto the ground. Good, and bring your knees gently into your chest. And slowly, feet back to the floor. You can just roll yourself over onto one side. And then roll yourself all the way over onto your stomach. Switch your body so you're in a comfortable position. We're coming into our Sphinx pose. So your elbows are right underneath of your shoulders. You can do an opposite elbow holds to check in there. And you can stay like that, or you'll turn your hands forward, forearms going parallel to the sides of your mat. You'll pull your chest kind of forward. In this position, it's okay to lean down a little or bring your forearms more forward if you're feeling too much in your lower back. From here, if you'd like to get a little bit of stimulation for your thyroid gland, you can just start to lift your chin up and drop your head back up, so give you a little compression in the neck. So if your back is feeling, this might just be a perfect spot for you. Again, maybe you're backing off a little bit and making the chest closer to the ground, right? But if you're not feeling much, you're not experiencing enough for your spine, you can slide your hands underneath your shoulders, take them slightly wider, turn the fingers a little bit out, and you're going to press yourself up, straightening the arms and lifting up. And that you don't don't yank the shoulders down. It's actually okay for the shoulders to have a little bit of a kind of a sag there. The arms are locked up. Now you're stretching through your stomach as well. And then maybe the head lifts and it wants to drop back. When you're ready, come out slowly by lowering back down onto your stomach and just letting your arms be just off to the sides, little cactus arms, and then turn your head so you're on your left cheek and slide your right knee up toward your right elbow. And let a soft smile be on your face as you pause and breathe here. Releasing that right leg back. Lifting the head and turning to the right cheek. Sliding that left knee up toward the left elbow. Sliding that left leg back. And then hands underneath of the shoulders and pressing yourself up. Just take a moment in child's pose, letting your hips shift back toward your heels, forehead down to the ground. Arms can slide alongside of the legs if that feels good. And then slowly coming up. Okay, so now we're gonna come into our frog pose. And we're gonna have a nice long 5-minute hold there today. So feel free if you've got any fun props and things. You might wanna have a bolster to grab at some point. You might need a couple blankets or towels underneath your knees. So here we go. Facing whatever direction, I'm gonna turn to the long edge of my mat. And open the knees out nice and wide. And you can start with the big toes touching, okay? And then you're gonna come down. I'll bring my bolster closer just so I can show you. You're gonna come down maybe onto your forearms if you can, or onto a prop of some sort. Some people like to take the bolster or blanket any direction and kind of lay over that bolster so it's something cozy. Now you're gonna maybe start to open your feet out and flex the feet so you're on your inner feet. You're taking your knees as wide apart as you can and your hips are over your knees. So I'm going to give you a sideways view too, just to, in case it was hard to see from that direction. So I'm opening my knees as wide as I can. In the fuller position, I have my heels out just behind my knees. In a modified position, I have my big toes touching and the hips a little bit back, okay? So my hips are over my knees, right? And then I'm just relaxing into it. Okay, so 5 minutes here. Make sure we get the timer for this one. Okay, and I'll tell you a little story to help get you through. It's a little fable, so keep in mind in referencing, and this fable talks about praying to God, and you probably maybe have heard this little story before, but you can just kind of replace God with whatever it is that, maybe, like I would say, the universe probably, or, what kind of whatever you want to replace the God with. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. It's called The Drowning Man. A fellow was stuck on his rooftop in a flood. He was praying to God for help. Soon a man in a rowboat came by, and the fellow shouted to the man on the roof, "Jump in, I can save you." The stranded fellow shouted back, "No, it's okay. I'm praying to God, and He's going to save me." So the rowboat went on. Then a motorboat came by. The fellow in the motorboat shouted, "Jump in, I can save you." To this, the stranded man said, "No thanks, I'm praying to God and He's going to save me. I have faith." So the motorboat went on. Then a helicopter came by and the pilot shouted down, "Grab this rope and I'll lift you to safety." To this, the stranded man again replied, "No thanks, I'm praying to God and He's going to save me. I have faith." So the helicopter reluctantly flew away. Soon the water rose above the rooftop and the man drowned. He went to heaven. He finally got his chance to discuss this whole situation with God, at which point he exclaimed, "I had faith in you, but you didn't save me. You let me drown. I don't understand why." To this, God replied, "I sent you a rowboat and a motorboat and a helicopter. What more did you expect?" And I just think that is so wonderful. That was actually my friend that I was with this morning, and she reminded me of that, or told me that little fable, and you know, it was just that reminder, like it's happening, you know, life is happening all around. Answers, you know, are happening all the time. Prayers are being answered. You know, just keep your eyes open, right? Accept them, be grateful, and know your worth. And value, right? And even to value yourself, right? And not to turn away from these potential opportunities, right, that are being handed to you, given to you, gifted to you, maybe. You just have a little over a minute here. So nice deep breaths. Relaxing as much as you can. One more deep breath. And when you're ready to come out, you can just slowly start to bring your big toes back toward one another. Again, prop yourself up on your form and start to come to your hands and just slowly start to slide your knees back in. Eventually, they might feel a little stuck. You might be making all kinds of noise and groans and things right now. That's okay, I can't hear you. We always groan around here anyway. Okay, so come into a child's pose once more. Arms at your sides, forehead down. And just spend a minute here softening the hips back to the heels. And feel free, if you are not comfortable in your knees here, you can have your hips lifted up a little bit, right? And just even be up on forearms. You don't have to press the hips all the way back if your knees don't agree with it. You can just imagine coming around to give you your little massage that I like to do. A couple more breaths, just relaxing the back. And pressing yourself up slowly. Okay, so that was just really nice, deep external rotation for the hips, and so now we're going to take an internal rotation of the hips with our shoelace pose. So you may, especially if you have tighter hips, you may want to grab a blanket to sit on. I do. So I like to sit on the edge of the blanket. Okay, so to come into the position, you can come forward. You're going to tuck your left knee behind your right knee, and then, here, I'll do mirror image to you guys. And then you're slowly going to start to sit back onto that blanket, or an even higher prop, maybe 7 blankets, maybe a couple of bricks. And then make sure that you're not sitting on your left heel. So if right away your knees especially are going, this isn't okay, then straighten out your bottom leg and just let this tuck knee, right, be in that rotation. And then the other thing to really make sure here is that your hips, your back isn't rounding back. Okay, so you want to make sure that pelvic bowl is upright, right? And if If anything, it would just eventually tip forward, but not back. So keep that pelvic tilt upright. Doing whatever you got to do to achieve that. And once you've found your comfortable place, close your eyes. So just making sure that your heels, or the kind of goal where your knees are stacked and your heels are about equidistant from your body. So you need a little more sensation. You can take your heels a little wider, maybe bring them in a little closer, but either way, try to have them about the same. And then make sure your right butt is probably trying to lift away from the floor a little bit here. So swoosh that booty down so the hips are nice and even, and get that good sensation in your hips. I'm going to add in a little bit of shoulder and wrist love for while we're holding this position in our lower body. So when you're ready, you can take your arms out straight and then flip the palms up, and then just start to turn the fingertips down to the ground, like just shining your palms forward. And then you're going to bring your your fingertips down to the ground. Now you're very gently, so this is also going to increase the stretch in your hips, so just do what you can. Start to lean forward a little bit and start to press the heels of the hands into the ground, trying to get the palms down, breathing into that stretch. You can walk the hands further away for more stretch, and bring them closer for less stretch, depending on what your hips and your wrists are telling you to do. Inhale and come up, and lifting the arms, flip the palms to face down now. Good, and then drop the fingers to the ground, and then literally bring the fingers to the ground. And then same thing, start to lean forward, getting the backs of the hands toward the ground as much as you can. All right, so take your time, be cautious and kind and careful, and then check in with your right butt. Make sure it didn't be like, oh, she's not paying attention, or he's not paying attention anymore. I'm just gonna lift up over here. Drop that booty down. And again, if you want a little more sensation, hands can walk forward. A little less sensation, hands closer in. And coming back up. Good job, you guys. You just kind of roll out the wrists a little bit, both directions. And we're going to switch sides. So you can lean back and just swing your legs around. That works for you, or any other which way you want to get there. So I'm not totally sure if I'm near you anymore or not, because I moved and confused myself, switched things around. So just make sure that you're doing the other side. Your other leg is on the top. Your bottom leg can straighten if your knees need that love. Pelvic bowl is upright. Heels equidistant from the body. Hip down, whichever hip is the top leg hip. Keep it down. Hands resting, maybe on your feet or ankles for a few breaths. We'll add in a little shoulder rub on this while we're on this side. So again, and you can always opt out of it, of course. Take your arms out to the sides. Good, and then you're going to turn your palms to face down. and then you're gonna wrap your arms back behind you. So at this point, you can hold opposite elbows, or you're coming into a reverse prayer, allowing your pinkies to slide up your back as your palms press together, trying to get your index finger and thumb to touch. Elbows draw back. And then kind of pull your ribs in, just making sure that you're not letting your, you're just not letting your ribs pop out. And draw your ribs in, right? Both hips are on the floor, your blanket or whatever your bum is on. And inhaling here, right? And so if you can't get your hands all the way up there into that prayer, you could also opt to take the palms down, but I prefer just to hold opposite elbows if the reverse prayers are working. You can stay here or you can fold forward. Just a few more breaths in this variation. Opening up the chest and shoulder. Release that, and again, maybe give your wrists a couple rotations each direction. Good job, you guys. Inhale, arms out big and wide. Let your heart lift toward the sky just slightly. And then taking your right elbow underneath your left elbow and wrapping up into your eagle arms best that you can. So maybe just barely, the pinky barely reaches the thumb. Maybe you can't quite get the arms to wrap. Then just hold opposite shoulders. That's a great variation. Then maybe start to lift your elbows up, more in line with the shoulders. Breathe into that upper body. And stay here, or maybe you start to come forward, bringing your elbows down toward the knees or past the knees, or maybe onto a brick or something that you've placed. Moving the fingers toward the ground. Inhale, back up if you fold it forward. Letting the arms reach out wide. Right? Heart open. And then switching sides. The right arm over the left. And wrapping up. And maybe lifting the elbows up. Maybe holding opposite shoulder. Maybe folding forward. Up if you fold it forward. Letting the arms free themselves out to the side. Feel the shoulders. Say thank you. And then exhale. Bringing the hands back down. Dropping the chin down to the chest. And then just moving the head to the left. Left ear over the left shoulder. Dropping the chin down. Moving the right ear over to the right shoulder. Close your eyes. And dropping your chin back down to your chest. Over to the left shoulder. If you like, you can add the left hand coming up, fingertips near the ear. Gentle, gentle pull. Releasing the hand, letting the head fall back into the chest. And then taking the right ear over the left shoulder. The right shoulder. And then that would be pretty tricky. Taking the right ear over the left shoulder. And you're going to take that right hand up there if you want to add that little stretch and deepen that stretch. And releasing, and it's time. Go ahead and release and shake out your legs a little bit. Good job. Just let them bounce around. Okay. Again, feet are going to be wide as your mat. We'll take your windshield wipers, so hands are back behind you, and you're going to drop your knees side to side. So now we're in our seated windshield wipers. We did a lying down before, right? So it's a couple times to rock side to side, making sure the feet are nice and wide apart, so you really get that rotation in your hips. And then when you're ready, inhale, coming up. Extend your legs long, slide your seat out from underneath you. And again, this might be a time when you sit up on a little blanket or a big stack of stuff to get your pelvis to be upright, okay? And then maybe you want to have a bolster of some sort between your legs, or you could stack up a few bricks, or sometimes it's nice to actually have the bolster up here more, so when you come into your caterpillar, you could just allow yourself to rest onto whatever's comfortable. And hold here for 3 minutes. So if this is a lot for your hamstrings, which I know it very well might be, then you are welcome to take a blanket roll of some sort right underneath the knees, maybe a little one, maybe a little bit bigger one, and then that might make it more comfortable to be able to come forward. And you can allow the spine to round here unless there is something going on in your back where flexion is not allowed. Then at that point you would keep your spine as straight as you can and just come as far forward as you can. Okay, you could use a strap if you wanted to. But otherwise you're just allowing yourself to relax and round in. And dropping the head down. You're really trying to shift away from any forcing, right? Not, especially in our yin practice, right? You're really allowing yourself just to receive gravity and be in touch with right here and now. This moment, can you drop in a little bit deeper without needing to pull yourself deeper by just letting the weight and your breath, right, and your receptivity, along with your relaxation level, help you to go deeper. You're stretching out your back body here, but you're calming your nervous system. And to slow things down. Slowly, when you're ready, stay nice and relaxed, and just bring yourself up. Take your hands back behind you, bend your knees, and just a little lift of the hips toward the sky. Maybe drop the head back again, stretching out the neck, stretching out the throat, opening the throat, stimulating the thyroid gland. And then slowly you can just bring the hips back down to the ground. And we're going to lower your body down onto the ground. Now hug your knees into your chest. hold on to the knees and just give yourself a few little circles around your lower back area. Take the circles the other direction. Just enjoying that self-care, nice soothing massage for yourself. You are worthy. And bringing the knees into the chest and taking the arms out to T. Okay, so we're going to take a nice long final twist. Twisting is so nice. This twist is going to help to just kind of get out any last little kinks in the body. We'll hold for 5 minutes. So when you're ready, you're going to drop your knees over to the right. Okay, so a couple of options here. This is just going to be nice and gentle. Your other options to maybe deepen or just feel the twist a little differently are going to be to straighten your right leg out and then let your right hand help guide that left knee over toward the floor. So most important is just keeping the shoulders on the ground. So if you need to scooch a little bit to the right, but keep your shoulders on the ground. Don't worry about if the knee makes it to the ground. And you could always bring the knee to something if you want to put something underneath there. And then you're going to, the other option, that's what I was going to say, is to cross the left leg over the right leg, eagle legs, and you could drop those knees over to the right. Okay? So, got a little time here. Your gaze goes toward the left hand. So you just adjust your head a little bit so you can look toward the left. And then close your eyes. Enjoy this time here. And each breath, you're just relaxing your back into the floor a little bit more. Or you're relaxing your shoulders into the ground a little bit more, relaxing your back into the rotation. See if you can really accept the breath as the ultimate gift that it truly is right now. You're totally worthy of. That is just abundant, happening in each moment. Breath is so amazing. What an amazing, amazing gift. And just feeling the wonders of what the gift of the breath can do for you. And so stepping into that place where you're just feeling every inhale, space, expansion, every exhale, relaxing into it, just stepping into that space, dropping into the shade, dropping into the twist, enjoying how it feels. Two more minutes here. Elizabeth Gilbert said, "There is hardly a more gracious gift that we can offer somebody than to accept them fully, love them almost despite themselves." So graciously we can receive gifts of it, but recognizing gifts as so much more, is love this greatest gift, right? Breath, this greatest gift. How many gifts there are out there to graciously give and receive. Whether it be love for another person, love for your home, love for your practice, love for your body, for yourself. 45 seconds. Right? Just quietly feeling a beautiful sense of acceptance. Just overall, whole life, whole body, whole self acceptance. All the gifts. When you're ready, you can bring your knees back up, unwinding the legs if they're wound up, and knees into the chest. Now we'll do the other side. So when you're ready, knees dropping over to the left, arms up to the sides. Maybe scoot your upper body a little bit to the left if that right shoulder is popping up. Right, and then your options, variations would be to straighten the left leg and then let the left hand guide that right knee over. Or the right leg can wrap around the left leg and you can drop those knees forward. And you turn your head toward the right. And if the right shoulder is still kind of struggling to stay down, try pressing your left shoulder into the mat a little bit more and see if that helps your right shoulder kind of deepen into that twist. And then then you'll start to feel like you can keep that shoulder down and relax. And relax your jaw and your eyes. Eckhart Tolle said, accept, then act. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. This will miraculously transform your whole life. And I loved that reminder, just the beginning, especially accept, then act. Right? And so just like the opposite of what I did this morning, right, is to have this amazing gift and then not accept it, right? And went straight to non-acceptance. And so I just thought that was just such a beautiful quote to come across, is accept, and then from that place of acceptance, then act, respond, and graciously. Enjoying this last little bit of time here to kind of reset your spine and give a gentle little massage stimulation for the organs in the stomach. Maybe feel a nice little release in the neck. Minute and a half more here in this final position before we take our Shavasana resting pose. Slowly bring your knees back up. Right, knees into your chest. Squeeze. And into your resting pose. Legs long, about mat distance apart, so comfortably far apart. You could drape your legs over your blanket roll or bolster if you'd like to, right underneath the knees, or even just maybe plop a blanket over the hips. That little bit of weight feels pretty nice, relaxing for the lower back. You rock your hips a couple times side to side, adjust your shoulders a little bit, adjust your head. Turn your palms so they're open, shoulders relax. Take a deep inhale. Let it out your mouth. And then just let the lips gently seal and allow yourself to rest deeply for the next several minutes. And let the breath just fall natural, comfortable, almost imperceptible. It's just so softly there. Just allow all the muscles to just kind of feel like they're letting go of the bones. The bones are just dropping into the floor. And again here, when you find that you're caught up in thought again, you got distracted by thought that just kind of tugged at you and took you away with it. No worries, it's okay. Don't get frustrated with yourself. Just come back to the breath. Just to paying attention to the natural breath and just relax. And be in this beautiful place of acceptance of what is and relax deeply, deeply. Accept that this moment is your moment to deeply relax and give yourself that gift and receive it graciously for the next few minutes until you hear the bells chime. Take a nice deep inhale, slow soft exhale. Start to move your fingers, your toes. You stretch the arms long body stretch. Waking the body back up. And when you're ready, you can curl your knees into your chest, roll over to your right side. And just pause there, cozy, eyes closed, so relaxed. And staying nice and relaxed, bring yourself up to seated, comfortable cross-legged position. Sitting up on something if it makes it most comfortable. Just resting the backs of the hands on the knees, palms up. Noticing how you feel. No judgments, no expectation. Just accepting this moment, how it is, what it is, for how it feels. You are worthy. You are someone. You are the only version of you to ever exist in the universe. You are great. You are powerful. You are special. You remember this, that you are worthy, so that you step into that place of acceptance in the best possible way that you can. So you're totally, your heart is just open to give, to receive, to accept, right? Who you are, where you are, what you are, and to recognize, right, that what we're putting out in the universe, right, is coming back to us. And so to not miss it, to not notice when it's showing up all over the place, all of these different gifts, all of these different, answers to our prayers and dreams. Bring your hands to your heart, bowing your head in. Gratitude. Showing it to your mat today for this moment. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed my class, please be sure to check out the other ones and to like and subscribe. And I do accept Venmo payments at Leah, or donations of any amount. They're also gratefully accepted at Leah-Distat. And more videos coming, and I hope you enjoyed this one. And we'll see you soon.